I've got other questions. Let me just give them a chance.
It's Tandubaya for Business Day. In these 3 weeks up until the budget, how much of the role will ANC play in the individual line items? I mean, previously the ANC has said that the Treasury has played in its own role and then reported back to the ANC, with the ANC having no role in what the Treasury decides. This time around, however, how much of a role will the ANC play? And then it's been 3 weeks since the decision was taken to reset the GNU. Has there been any idea on what that looks like tangibly in terms of rules, in terms of rules of engagement or anything like that?
We are going to be discussing the budget up until the 21st of May, and we'll be engaging with political parties. We'll start first in our party. The officials and the NWC will reflect on the budget. Look, without VAT, that budget is proper. That was the only contentious issue that political parties raised. It was the reversal of the VAT increase to even 0.5%. What Treasury must answer for all of us now, with that being undertaken by the Treasury, and after consultation and engagement with political parties, where now are we going to get the revenue to close the hold? Where are we going to get that? That is the critical question that must be answered. And for the ANC, we have said even in our statement, we don't want austerity, and at the same time, we want social spending, particularly on areas that we have mentioned, health, education. And then we want a budget that is pro-poor, but the budget that is going to ensure growth in the economy, so that we are able to create more jobs in the economy. Those are the strategic questions that must be answered in the next 2 weeks. And our task team of economic transformation will report tomorrow in terms of the alternative means on this particular question. And that is what must be understood. What must be understood is that the ANC has never been in favor of the VAT. It is regressive, but when we're engaging with all the challenges that were before us, the striking issue that had to be attended to was the question of where are we going to get the revenue. And now it has been exaggerated and distorted that we were seeking for a permanent implementation of 0.5. We have always understood it as a stopgap measure that was temporary. Should there be other alternatives, we said within 30 days that must be addressed. That is why we passed the budget framework on those bases. And that is what we have made clear to the public. And that is why we said there is no need to go to court. Because what happened? They went running to court, and the decision was taken after consultation within 30 days. And it ran that they are going to court mute, such that there was no need to basically proceed with their decision of court and all of that. And all what the court did was to issue an order, which was an outside court settlement between political parties. So to us has not been who claimed victory, who won, and all of that, because anyone who was opposed will say that we won. So it is incorrect that it was activities of others. Even Action SA and all other parties were opposed to VAT increase. Yeah. And that is why they said that we can agree to work with you to pass the budget framework on condition that this thing of the VAT increase will be reviewed. And that's what has actually happened.
So just to be clear, the ETC tomorrow is presenting the NWC and the officials with alternative revenue proposals to the VAT.
Yes, that will happen. Resetting the budget, resetting the pattern for the GNU. That is the discussion that we're going to have, again, with all political parties. We've been locked in discussions for the past 3 weeks, including with the DA and all political parties within and outside the GNU. So we are going to be engaged in the discussions in order to pass the budget on the 21st. So we agree that we are going back in terms of the budget framework, We're going back in terms of the appropriation. And then should we agree on all of those, the 21st of May will be okay for everyone. And should anyone not be agreed on the steps that are going to be taken, then that will be exhausted in the table of negotiations. But there is nothing much on the part of the ANC, because the budget as it stands right now was addressing issues that the ANC wants to be addressed in relation to serving our people.
How differently does the next 2 weeks of negotiations look like compared to the past 2 months since the first iteration of the budget in February and then March 12th?
I don't think there will be much in the next 2 weeks, honestly speaking. We don't want surprises. That's what is important. We don't want to micromanage Treasury, but we don't want surprises. Again, to come with VAT increase and all of that we as the ANC get to be blamed today for it. We have never had an ANC meeting that said government going to introduce VAT. I said it in Parliament and I'm repeating here today again for all to know. There was no meeting of the National Executive Committee, and I'm saying it here in front of our members, that there was no meeting of the ANC that mandated Treasury to increase VAT. The mandate we've got from our manifesto is to zero rate on the essential goods, and that's what, because of cost of living and poverty, and that is the mandate that we've got. So the fact that Treasury came up with this, they could only explain it in as far as saying our spending has gone high, we have exhausted our borrowing capacity, and we don't intend to do that. So our revenue has actually gone down. We need to review our spending as government. And that is the matter the president spoke about in the State of the Nation. We support that. We support that, the review of spending in terms of our government, that must be done to align with a whole lot of things that government can do, including cutting on wasteful expenditure. People have made ridiculous demands that we must cut on the sitters. The money of the sitters does not come from the fiscus. It is the contribution of the private sector. And that's what it is. And then people who think that they know the economy, they go and say, cut the sitters. How do you cut the sitters when the money does not come from the fiscus? And private sector and government have agreed on this. All what is important is alignment and proper spending and reduce wasteful expenditure. That is the review process that government is undertaking and is going to implement going forward. It is important that must actually happen.
Shannon Merrick, Kasi Broadcasting Africa. SG, you in a place called Ward 24, but the real name on the street is Chovicho. The name is the name of the movie, where there's crime, there's all the wrong things and so on. 1 kilometer anyway. There's the landfill sites where the recycling is taking place. There's a lot of crime. There's B section all around. There's a lot of crime and so on, as was alluded to before. Don't you think it is time that Freedom Park, Ward 24, gets its own police station? Because it's taking resources from other police stations, and the area what it was 1994 to what it is today, it's massive, and I don't think it's fair that there's no police station. What's your opinion about that? Secondly, there's no taxi rank in Ward 24, Freedom Park as well. It has expanded from 200 houses to plus 1,000 houses. Last but not least, you say the ANC and the DA is oil and water, but the ANC, EFF and MK are the same policies. The EFF policies come from the Freedom Charter. The 7 cardinal pillars come from the Freedom Charter. As the person introduced you before, you were the former ANC Youth League president. Malema is a former ANC Youth League president. Why can't you sit around the table and sort out things for the people in terms of the Freedom Charter? Thank you.
The ANC, EFF and the Zuma Party. I refer to it as Zuma Party because that name is stolen. Zuma has stolen the property of the ANC called MK.
Yes.
And has abused it to himself. And that's why we're in court with him over that, the trademark issue. Now, there is nothing common between us and those people. The same as with anyone else, okay? We might be fishing, they might be fishing from the same pond as us, but at the end of the day, there is nothing common between us. And when you say they embrace the Freedom Charter, I don't know what they stand for, because they are flip-floppers. Today they say this, tomorrow they wake up with something different. The ANC can't be compared to that.
Yeah.
We are a durable ANC that has got an ideology that has adopted the Freedom Charter a long time ago. The ANC that has got a clear program of action that is called the National Democratic Revolution. We define them in the same basket as opponents of the ANC. That's what it is. If we were to have tactical connection with them, it's because of the reduced majority, like here in Joburg. We work with them in the coalition, in Eguruleni. It's tactical. It's not, there's nothing strategic about it. It can even collapse tonight, depending on what the leader says. The ANC is not a one-man party. Our constitution, read it. It was designed, developed over time, and adopted at conference. It was not designed around one person. We don't have cult. Ramaphosa, as our president, is not cult. We can engage with him. We can differ with him. He can listen to us. He's not the alpha and omega. He's working with the collective. So to compare the ANC to cult is to reduce the stripes we have earned over the years of being a front of the liberation forces before and now in our country and globally, and a disciplined force of the left. So there's no confusion about who we are as the African National Congress. Our approach to crime, I wish to emphasize again, is not the state working alone. We are saying to our people, through our public representatives and our structures, let us reclaim the streets. Women must not be raped in our streets, daylight, by criminals that live among us. Society must get organized and defend themselves against criminality. And that's when the police will then come as the law enforcement to support the communities. And that's what we prefer, working with the police, but society must get itself organized. We have resolved conference after conference. Let's mobilize, let's create street committees. Let's create patrollers and all of that. We will liberate ourselves from criminality. We must conscientize ourselves as a people to work with everyone to ensure that we kick crime out of the window. So we must work together and work among communities. That is our approach to crime. And secondly, where there is filth and dirt gathering around our townships, we must roll up our sleeves and work in the communities, working with the municipality, our councillors, to clean our areas, our townships, where we live. And we must do that working with the people. But where government is not doing its part, we must also raise our voices that we want you to come in to work with us as the municipality. Our councillors, our structures must be able to call community meetings and able to mobilize society. But society will come to the party and government will also come to the party when there is something that is being done. But if we entrench the mentality that give us our daily bread, somebody somewhere, and we do nothing about the filth in the area where we live as a people, things will take time. But where government is failing, even if it is our own, we must hold them accountable. And there is nothing wrong for the ANC to protest. And we've got now our candidate here in this ward. He's going to lead that struggle. But he's not going to lead the struggle in this community if he does not mobilize society behind the programs in this ward. He must work with people, work with everybody in this ward to change things for the better in this community. As he march and go to the council, he must say, I need support in my ward. We want a taxi rank, like you say. We want a police station or a satellite police station. Things will come here. Public representatives must lead from the front. I fully agree with you. If we had all resources, I was a minister of police. Every township, you go around Gauteng, townships are no longer the size that you left them in 1994. They are bigger. There are squatter camps opening every day. And you must understand, whenever the squatter camp opens up, you must bring ablution facilities. You must build roads. You must build houses. South Africa, we are no longer 33 million. In 1994, we were 33 million or whatever. We are now 60 million. And there is an influx of people into the urban areas. There is what is called urbanization. That we are faced with, particularly in areas like Gauteng province. We must then be in a position to respond to that. Thank you very much.
Just briefly, for my colleague in Limpopo, he just wants a bite on what's happening in Vembe. The court striking off the roll in application to interdict the Vembe conference from taking place.
The conference must take place. We will get the report from the deployees. We have deployed comrades to assist and to ensure that that conference does take place. There is nothing that suggests otherwise. The conference must take place. It went to court, and then the court struck the matter of the roll. So there is nothing that stops the conference. Those who are deployed there will make up their mind. But they've never come to me and said that the conference will be postponed. As the Secretary General, to say that the conference is postponed, I need to know what are the reasons that lead to that, if it is postponed, if it has to be postponed, and all of that. We have done everything to support that conference taking place. I was in court from early this morning, and we got the judgment in the afternoon. So I don't sleep. We're winning cases like hotcakes. We will stop anarchy in the ANC. And we are not going to be governed by people who run to courts because they are losing a conference. They run to court. That is anarchy. We are winning. I was in court last week. I was in court last week about Northwest Conference. I'm talking to comrades that get out of the courts. They don't want to get out of the courts, but the courts are not running the ANC, and I'm very happy about that. They've given that task to the people who run the ANC, which I happen to be privileged to be running it now for the next 5 years. So we are winning courts like hotcakes, which is very good for the organization because we are not failing in running the organization based on our guidelines and what we have actually agreed to. We are very happy whenever we win a court case because it will teach people that there is nothing that is in the courts. Everything is in the ANC. The processes are there. These processes must be perfected going forward because we will go to conference, contest if there is a contest. That's why we say to our members, on any other issue, do not prioritize things that don't build. When people want to destroy the ANC, they say discuss succession debate. Okay? And then because people are bored, and then you have just asked me about so many problems in this ward. Can you imagine if we were to leave those problems of the people and start to discuss 2027? I'm very happy coming into Ward 24 and see the structures of the ANC preoccupied with winning the ground. I'm very happy. I've seen here the region. Here's the regional secretary. I've seen here our branch. I've seen here our volunteers. They didn't say, hey, no pala, palela, bani, pala, no pala. You know, they didn't say to me, hey, Mbalula, you want to become president, this and that and so on. Look, anyone who says Mbalula is campaigning and all of that is talking nonsense. Okay? My job is to focus the structures on the task and the moment. This moment we are in is not nice to be standing here and being asked about the DA. And we're not going to win it by discussing leadership. We will win it on the ground. Conference comrades will come and go. We will discuss leadership. Maybe when we get there, there will not even be a fight. We'll just move ahead. And it's only then that will answer the question, who stands, who does not stand. How do you discuss who stands for leadership? You are going to lead the ANC from opposition because you are busy with leadership. I'm very happy to come here and see members of the ANC enthused, focused on the task, not gossiping each other, working very hard for our movement. I was told the regional chairperson is not here, he's not well. The deputy chairperson is here, welcomed us here. Comrades were waiting here, we're working since the morning. And I know they've been working. And they are winning by-elections in this region of Johannesburg. They are doing excellent job. I am going to sleep like a child when I live here. When I go to Lutuli House, I'm very happy that I'm not leading a jacket. There's ANC that is working on the ground. And the rest, comrades, is yegeleni gum. Nababalekela makhothi bayekeleni kum ndizawubaqhuba. Ndizawubachutshisa. Ndizawubaqhuba. Ndihleli phaa eLuthuli House ndizawubaqhuba kakuhle. Yeah, ndisebenza ne-collective. Ndiripota kuyo, ndisebenza nayo. I am privileged to be working with people who respect me. Now I respect them in turn. If you don't respect me, I will disrespect you. You come with me, Andos, I come with me, Andos.